started. Hopefully you can hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know. And hopefully I can hear you. Let me double check. Yeah, should be good. All right, so today we're talking about email. I was just down, walked past Barb's office, and she was laughing about her 20,000 emails that she's got in her inbox. But I don't think, to be honest, I don't think she's the winner. I think there's a few of you that are unwilling to type in your 40,000 or 60,000 or whatever unread emails. Pretty typical in our business to have a whole bunch of emails and have a difficult time getting through them, especially with the amount of spam and stuff that we have as realtors. We've got all kinds of people who want our attention. They want us to buy their stuff and to do whatever it takes to get our business. And so there's a lot of spam that we get as realtors. So today, hoping to go through some of that, help out with your inboxes and move forward with that. So I go through, if you've got questions, just unmute. Let's talk about it. So I'll take the time that is needed to get you guys to where you are. If we get to the end of this and you need some one-on-one help or whatever, happy to do that over Zoom. You can come into the Orem office. I can help you here. I'm happy to meet you at any of the offices, including St. George, if you just need some hand-holding. So whatever it takes to get your email under control, I'm happy to do that. But hopefully this gives you some strategies and some techniques to work through your email in better ways and be more productive agents. All right, so let me see if I can get screens up. There we go. And so today, our goals, and first, before I do this, maybe I shouldn't be teaching this class because Lori only has 0. She's at inbox 0 this morning. I don't know if she started a new account or what, but either she started a new account or she should be teaching this because inbox 0 is hard. Even I have a hard time with it some days. So good job, Lori. That's amazing. Oh, you're a new agent. Well, does that mean you're a brand new email account? Maybe. So that might be it. So we would have to ask you about your personal account, but I won't do that. All right, so let's talk about the goals of this class so that you know where we're going to go. The goals of this class are to, 1, help you cut down on all the crap that comes into your email box. Get some of that out of there. Give it a place to live, and then let you see some of the more important things, all of the things that matter to you, all those emails that you have to have. And then 3, spend less time in your email and more time making money, because email can be a real time sink and a real time crunch. And so the more time that we can get out of our email and spend talking to people and doing the things that are important, the more money you guys are going to be able to make. So let's first talk about this. There is not one way, right? Today, I'm going to talk specifically about Gmail and the way that I use Gmail. But if you use Hotmail, Outlook, Yahoo Mail, whatever it is, a corporate email system, a personal email server inside your house, whatever you use, these same concepts are going to apply. You may need to choose different buttons or click different areas, but for the most part, this is all the same kind of thing. And so you should be able to get to the same place no matter which email client you're using. I actually use an email client outside of Gmail to manage it called Spark, but you can just use straight Gmail inside. So you can do that. All right. So Wade's here to teach the class. He just walked in.
I didn't think it was, I thought it was a lesson.
It's a Zoom class. Yeah. So Wade's here. He's going to teach the class. Now I'm just going to walk off and he's going to tell us all about how to do email.
I'm going to go in the other room and jump on.
He's going to go jump on and then he'll teach from there. How many unread emails do you have in your inbox?
100,000.
100,000.
Yeah.
100,000.
Yeah.
So that's more than Barb's 20,000.
Yes.
Okay.
It's been years, and it's only accelerated, especially since I joined the board in St. George.
Yeah.
And I just get probably 50 to 60 a day from St. George.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if anybody's on the Flex MLS systems, be it St. George, Iron County, wherever it is, if you're not there, you don't know this, but you're actually able to email out anytime you want to all of the MLS. And so everybody in the MLS gets those emails. So there's a lot of spam that comes through those MLSs. So that's what he's talking about. All right, I need to turn on do not disturb before I get going here. Otherwise, you're going to see all of my texts that I get about joining or getting my health quotes. You guys probably get all those too from people wanting DV health quotes. All right, so before I go into the tactics that I use, let me give you 3 things that you should be doing religiously to protect your inbox. Number 1, unsubscribe, right? It's one of the things that we don't do that we really should be doing. And so when you get that email newsletter from Inman and you haven't read it now for 6 months and you just keep thinking, well, I'm sure someday something important is going to come through, I'm going to read it. Just take the 10 seconds, scroll to the bottom and click that unsubscribe link. You can always go back and resubscribe if you're really missing it. But if you haven't read it in a while, just turn it off. Just take the time to unsubscribe. It takes 10 seconds to click that button at the bottom to unsubscribe. So do that religiously. At least once a week, go through and unsubscribe from, a couple of things that you're not using. Number 2, protect your email address. So anytime that you're signing up for something, use a free account. Just set up a different one. Mine is jefflovesspam@gmail.com. So I use that to sign up for all of the stuff that I absolutely don't want to ever see again. Or I just need one code or whatever it is. And so protect your email address as much as possible. Number 3, schedule. And this is one that I don't do because I have to be in my email pretty much 24/7 for you guys, signing stuff and solving problems and those kind of things. But if you're not in that situation, which most of you aren't, schedule times that you can be in your email. I would suggest that you schedule a time in the morning and then a time later in the afternoon and just do it twice. Maybe an hour on each or a half hour, an hour, whatever you feel. But schedule that and do it in a way that will give you some free time. What happens is we get into our email and that email traps us in and we start on one and then the next and then the next. We start reading a newsletter. We start, listening to whatever it is that somebody just sent us about the war in Russia or, whatever it is, we get trapped into our email. So don't fall into that. Brian, you raised your hand. Have you got something?
Yeah, when you say use a different email to protect yourself, are you talking about on another server or like if you already use Gmail, create just another email address?
Yeah, so create a totally different account. So just go to Gmail, create a brand new Gmail account, whatever you want to name it, and use that specifically for all of your junk, right? All your subscriptions that you never want to see again.
And you're going to show us how to set, because it all feeds into the same bucket though when it comes through on your computer or whatever.
So this is totally 100% changing that, right? I'm going to go into Gmail. Let me show you. I would go into Gmail. I'm going to have to do it on a incognito window. And from here, just create a brand new account.
So you have to sign into a new Gmail tab then to just look at those emails is what you're saying.
Yeah,
okay.
For some reason you want to go look through all your junk email, you would sign into that account and start looking at it. You'll get lost in there forever if you go. Mine has probably as many as Wade's, right? 100,000 unread emails because they just go there and they live. And I know it's stuff that I don't really care about, right? I'm not giving it to clients or people to send me offers or anybody I actually care about. It's for those services that you go and you're like, this might be interesting. I'd like to get this download. And they say, well, in order to get it, you've got to give me your email address. That's when I give them my spam email address.
And you go get the download and then you never go back there again.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. So you don't have it, what's it called? Collate. You don't have it collate into your whatever other, like we do have Fathom and our regular stuff all collate into one box. So you don't do that. You just never have it collate into our regular email then.
Correct. For those specific ones. No, I'll tell you, I do get newsletters in my email, in my Gmail account, right? They're there. You'll see them. But those are specific emails that I want in my business account, right? Anything that I don't want in my business account, I protect it.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about the core concepts that I'm going to go over today. The first one is archiving and deleting. And if you don't get anything more out of this class than just archiving and deleting and what that means and how to use it, that's the one that's going to get your number down. And it's going to keep you at inbox 0 if you use it religiously. Number 2, using labels and folders, using rules and filters, snooze and send later. We'll do a quick cleanup of a huge inbox. And so for Wade, if he does these 3 steps on that last part, quick cleanup, he'll be able to get to inbox 0 today. And then what I use every day to be at inbox 0 by the end of almost every single day. So we'll go through each of these. So the first one is archiving and deleting. Does this look anything like what you see, right? You go in and this is what you've got, right? You've got your Sierra Club, you've got your golf memberships, you've got your newsletters, and none of it, as far as you can tell, has anything to do with business. You're looking for an offer and it's almost impossible to find, right? And so what do? This is how you clean this up, right? And let's talk about the difference. So archiving simply moves it out of your inbox and puts it into an archive area that's not visible as far as you can see on your screen. Now you can always find it, but you can always search for those emails. They're still there. They're always available. You're not losing access to them. They're just not right in front of your face, cluttering up what you see on a daily basis. And so archiving takes an email, puts it out of your view. You're done with it. You're going to archive it, put it away for the day or for the rest of eternity, as far as I'm concerned, and you're never going to see it again. Deleting, on the other hand, it goes in the trash, right? And it's maybe gone forever. Now, some services have the ability to pull those back after 30 days if you did it, didn't really want to trash it. But after 30 days, gone forever. You can't ever search it. You can't ever find it again. They're just simply gone. And so I would tell you, for the most part, 99% of the time, you're just going to take an email, you're going to archive it, right? You're going to be done with it. Your checkout is done. You archive it and you move on. If you ever have something that you just know for sure, I'm not going to use this, that's what's going to go in your trash. So don't be scared. The big one is don't be scared to archive, right? Don't be scared to get it off your screen, to get it out of your view, to take it so it's not cluttering up what you're trying to do. Archiving and deleting are your best friends, and they will keep you at inbox 0 if you do it. Just that one step. So now let's go on to labels and folders. Now, every one of these, well, most of them have 2 different things, right? Labels and folders. Labels is what Gmail calls it. Folders is what Outlook calls it, or some other systems call it. They're the same thing, but just know that they can be different terminologies depending on which system you're using. So labels and folders let you categorize your email. It lets certain emails stand out from others, and it lets you quickly search and scan for emails that are important to you. Excuse me. So a good way to understand what these are, if you're as old as I am, this one's going to make sense to you, right? It's like a filing cabinet. It has a folder. You put each one categorized into its folder and you stick it in that filing cabinet. Your main Gmail account or your main email account is going to be your filing cabinet. Your labels are going to be your file folders in there that categorize each of your emails. Now, if you're younger and you've never seen a filing cabinet in your life, which some people haven't, this one's going to work better for you, the tags, right? So tagging something so that you can easily find it is the same as a label. You're basically just giving it a tag so that at a later point in time, you can go back and search for that tag and easily find all the emails related to whatever that tag is. Why would you use labels and folders? 1, to organize your inbox. 2, it boosts your productivity because it puts things in a way that you can easily see and understand them. And number 3, it makes sure that you see the important emails first, and it keeps you from being distracted by the things that you don't need to be looking at when you're in your email. So let's go through some useful examples of when you might use labels and folders. Number one, if you can easily label and show any emails that require immediate action. So you can set up you can go in and look at those emails and flag them, label them as immediate action. You can see here on the screen, like this one, you can label it with green or whatever color you want. This needs immediate action, right? You can do that with offers, either sent or received. You can flag them showing it's an offer so you can easily scan your inbox and see if you've received any offers. Emails from your broker. So if you get emails from me or your broker, whichever office you're in, you can flag those with a color or with a tag, with a label, so that you can easily find those and you won't miss them. Emails from anyone at fathomrealty.com. Maybe emails from your transaction coordinator if you have a transaction coordinator. Property lists from the MLS can be easily classified. Client emails, and so as you get clients, you can set it up so that you can just mark them as being a client, and it's easy to find the client emails and you won't miss them. Or transactional emails, right? So from your title company, your lenders, the agents on the other side, your home inspectors, and those kind of things. So labels can easily be used for this. Let me show you how to do this. This is my actual inbox. I haven't touched it since last night at about 6 o'clock, except for the important emails that I had to absolutely go through today. And so, for example, I'll just take this first one. This is something that came through from Colorado. I'm also a broker in Colorado. And he's saying, hey, this is something that needs to be taken care of. What do you think we need to do? So as I go into this email, I can easily go up here to my label and I can mark it as action needed. Right? And now it adds that action needed to it. And when I'm back here, I can easily see that this is an action needed item. Right? And I can go through each of my emails and do the same thing, classifying them in ways that will help me to see visually what these are and how to take care of them. Does that make sense? Any questions about labeling? So again, in Gmail, the way to label is go into the email and use this button here. And then you will put a label to it, right? And I'll go through adding labels and how to add these and what they are, how to manage them and how to make them a different color and those kind of things as well at the end. But just know this is how you label them so that they're there. This does not remove them from your inbox. They're still here, right? And so if I wanted to, if this one was done, it looks like Matt already answered the question for him. I would go ahead and archive this. And so I use keyboard shortcuts, so I'm not even sure which one it is. So it's this button here, right? You would just click archive. For me, I've set up my hotkeys, and I'll talk about that later as well. But for me, if I saw this and I was done with it, I just simply hit the letter E, and that takes it out of my inbox. If I go back now, you can see it's no longer there, right? But I could easily go back and find it again. If I look at my action needed, it's right there, right? Because that's the label that I applied to it. And I could go back and put that in my inbox if I wanted, or I could take further action, or I could label it something different if I want to do that. But those are there so that you can easily find, based on your tags, what it is that you've got. Now, I will tell you, and you'll see here in my sidebar, I've got a service that kind of does some of this for me, but I've also categorized some of this automatically. So the 23 emails isn't a true reflection of how many emails I have to go through. But it gives you some idea of what my normal inbox looks like on a daily basis. Any questions about labels or folders?
Yeah, Jeff, I did have a question. So if I were to, is the first step, as far as like all these emails that I get from the Flex MLS St. George, would you put a label to that first and then have it archived, or would you have those just sent directly to an archive folder? So once it hits the email, it just automatically goes into the archive.
I mean, it really depends on you, Wade, on what's going to be best for you. If you want to look at each of those before you actually process them, then you would just go through and look at them, label them, and then archive them or move them to a folder, right?
Right.
In most cases, for me, I automatically process every single one of those. I don't look at them. I simply stick them in a folder and with a label. And if they need to be looked at, I can go in and look at them or search for them. But I don't need to be wasting my time looking at everybody who's telling me that they have a great listing on the market, because I already know how to search the MLS and set up hot sheets.
Right, right. And so with those automatically then go to a folder.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that when we talk about rules and filters and how to set that up. This is just if you're going through your inbox on a daily basis, how you can actually do it manually and take care of this on a manual level instead of having it done automatically for you.
Okay.
Other
I
questions
get-
about labels? Yeah.
Yeah, when you archive those emails, is it using the storage on your computer, or it goes out of your, the Gmail account?
Yeah, the storage that's used in all of this is used on the Gmail account. So Gmail keeps all of their email on their servers. It's not downloaded locally, so it's all on their servers.
Okay.
And that's part of the problem, is that if you keep these emails, all of these emails for years on end, Barb's 20,000 unread emails, you're going to run into a storage problem, and you're going to have to start paying Google for extra storage. Or Outlook or Microsoft or whatever it is, you're going to have to pay for extra storage because you've got so much email in there.
Right. Okay.
Other questions? Okay. All right, so let's talk about the core concept of labels and folders. Oh, sorry, about rules and filters. We just did labels and folders. So labeling, like I just talked about, Wade, this can seem like a lot of work, right? It seems like you're going to have to sit there and label each one of your emails, and it's going to take a lot of work to work through them manually. And it does if you have to do that with every one of your emails. And that's where filters or rules will save you. It automates the process for you. Filters allows you to automatically take action on any of your emails before they get to the inbox. It can also archive it or move it to a specific folder or label. It can color code it. It can delete it. It can mark it as read. It could forward it. It can pretty much do anything you want with any given email that comes into your email without actually having to touch it. Why? You would use these because it saves time. It organizes quickly. It makes sure that you see important emails and gets the unimportant emails out of the way. And it cuts through all of the spam. Be a little bit, this is my one caution on rules, be very careful if you're filtering on specific people, right? So I've got Bob Casper. He's my least favorite agent in the world. I never want to hear from Bob Casper again. And so I put Bob's email address and move all of his email automatically into the trash. I never want to see anything from him again. Well, tomorrow Bob goes and sees my listing and sends me an offer on that. I never see it. Right? It's not there because it's automatically moved in. And so if you're filtering based on one person, just be really careful that you make sure that you really, really don't want to see it, or that you move it into a label that you're going to check on occasion to see if it's something important that you do want to take care of. For me, I would only filter on a person to actually make them stand out more. In other words, to color code them as red so that I knew that it was a VIP or an important email. I wouldn't necessarily do it to move their emails into trash. If I'm really sick and tired of Bob's emails coming to me, I would just email Bob and say, hey, you send me too many emails. Could you cut that down? So, and not picking on Bob, he just happens to be the person on my screen. So two examples of good rules that you can do. This is my very favorite one and will cut down the vast majority of what you get as far as spam. You go in and you search for the word unsubscribe. You click the search option button, click and create a filter. and then you move anything with the word unsubscribe in it into a label called newsletter, and you mark it as important, never mark it as important. And I'll walk through this with you right now. What this does is, if you think about it, every email that comes into your inbox that has the word unsubscribe in it is usually a newsletter or some less important email, right? If you're getting an offer from an agent, it's not going to have the word unsubscribe in it. Or if you're getting an email from a client, they're not going to have the word unsubscribe in it. And so this is a very good way to get those out of the way and just clean up that inbox really quickly. Let me show you what it looks like. So this is what I would do. I would search for unsubscribe. Right, and hit enter here. Well, hit this button right here. This is your search options. And it has the word unsubscribe in it. This is your search options that you can search on. This is what we're searching on. It has the word unsubscribe in the email. And I want to create a filter. And you can see that in the background here, it's popped up all of those emails with the unsubscribe word in it. You can see that there are all these awesome newsletters that somehow still make it into my inbox. So what I want to do, this gives me the option to choose what I want to do with these. So what I want to do is I want to skip the inbox, right? I don't want it to come into my inbox at all. I want to mark it as read. I want to apply a label to it. And I want to do the newsletter label.
Why do you mark it as read, Jeff?
If you don't mark it as read, if you look over here on this side, you can see that these have read counts next to them. And so I want it to show that I've already read it. I can still go in and read it later, but I just don't want to be bothered by the fact that I have 4,862 unread newsletters.
Unread. Gotcha. Perfect. Okay.
Okay. So, and for whatever reason, it's probably because I use my same news. This is the one that I use for newsletters, but you can make a label called newsletters. All right, and so you'll apply the label sane news to it. You'll never mark it as important because sometimes Gmail overrides what you think it should do and it thinks it knows better, and it will mark it as important and leave it in your inbox. Now, the real key to this whole thing is, and then you'll create the filter, right? But if you're doing this for the very first time, so I've got Wade with 100,000 or Barb with 20,000, click this one. Also apply filter to matching conversations. And when you do that, it takes all of those that it just found, right? 100 of many. It doesn't, I don't even know how many it has in here. And it applies this to it automatically and moves them into that same news folder. So this is what I would use to clean up that inbox quickly. And I'll show you this example again when we get to that. But for now, you would just do this, unsubscribe, click these boxes, and create this filter. From that point on, any of these emails that come in automatically will go into your newsletter folder here, and you'll never have to see them again, right? They'll never be in this part of your email. If you want to see them, you can click on it. I can go into my news. I can click on any of these newsletters and read them. I just don't want to do it today, right? And so whatever day I have time to do it, I can go in and do that. That would make sense. Yep.
What's your feeling about, instead of just keeping all of these, is it, I guess if there's stuff that you get that allows you to unsubscribe and you really don't want to, it's best just to go and unsubscribe, correct?
Yeah, so that's what I do on a weekly basis. I'll go through my newsletter folder and I'll look at those and decide, I'll try to find at least 5 that I don't want anymore and unsubscribe from them.
Okay.
And that takes me about 10 or 15 minutes to find and unsubscribe from 5 or 10 of them in a week.
You'll get an awful lot of unsolicited junk too, with an unsubscribe button on it. So I love this idea because it'll clear all of that stuff.
Yeah. So nobody's going to send you an important email that has an unsubscribe in their signature. It just doesn't happen. When you send an email that's important, you're sending it off your personal account. It's not going to have unsubscribe in it. Now, I do check my newsletter folder just for those, just in case. I always scan it once a week. I also always scan my spam and my deleted email once a week just to make sure I'm not missing something. I have found offers in my spam. I have found offers in my deleted email. It's usually after the fact and after we've already gone under contract. But just know that they're there. And that's a tip for you. Hey, if you're sending over an offer, make sure you contact a listing agent, tell them you sent it so they can go look for it. Crazy to me how many times I go in and find an email for an offer that the agent never even told me they sent over. I mean, it's been a week and I haven't heard from them and they sent an offer. Crazy to me. So make sure you follow up on your offers. All right. Second example, never miss an email from me again, right? So you would do the same thing and we're going to search for my email address and create that filter. So I would go in and I would do fathomrealty.com. I would search the same button to show my search options. And instead of leaving it in has the words, I'm going to copy this and put it up in the from. So anytime it's from this email address, those are the emails I want to find. And I want to create a filter on this.
Jeff,
Yep.
if a person like you or others have more than one email address that stuff may come from, do you put all of those in that search engine, in that search box?
You can, but what I find is that I'm usually not going in and purposely making this filter ahead of time. I'm usually doing it because I just got an email from you and I now want to mark all of Brian's emails as important, right? And so I'll do this in a different way. I'll go in like this and you can create a filter from here. Can't remember which one it is because I never use these buttons. But you can create a filter from here based on that email address, and that's an easier way for me to do it. But you can add multiple email addresses to that as well.
Okay. And it doesn't confuse it or anything.
No, you just separate them by commas.
Okay. Okay. Because it's not unusual for people to have more than one email address.
Right. You're totally fine to do that.
Okay.
Okay, so in this case, I'm going to use this email address. I'm going to search for it, create a filter on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to star it. I'm going to apply a label to it. In this case, I don't have a broker label, so I'm going to create a new label called broker and just create that. So now I have it applying the broker. I'm going to always mark it as important. And I would normally apply that to matching and then create that filter. Now, anytime I get an email from myself, that's going to show up. It's going to automatically flag it here as being important. It's going to have the star already starred, and it's going to show up at the top of my inbox. Okay, so that's a good one for important people so that you never miss them and they're always here. There's tons of other examples that you can use filters and labels for. As you go through an inbox, you can easily find the ones that you want and how to do them. I've got filters that will move all of my offers into an offer folder. I've got filters that will move all of my transaction documents into transaction folder, my pre-approval letters into pre-approval folders and those kind of things. I have a lot of those turned off right now just so that I have some email in here to actually process for you once we get to that example. But those are great ways. There's tons of things as you go through your email. If you're just thinking about how can I automatically process this, those are things that you just need to take 10 minutes and set up a filter for so that it automatically does it for you instead of you having to worry about it. And it just leaves the important things here at the front.
So it's sophisticated enough to go in and find the words offer and pre-approval, and that's how it's searching then?
Yeah, so I use it as when I'm searching for, let's say, a pre-approval, I'll search on the word pre-approval, and I'll also make it have an attachment, right? So that it knows that it has to have an attachment and it has to have the word pre-approval in it, and then it will move it into my pre-approval letters. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the only ones that wouldn't catch is if they didn't do those two things, but then it would stand out here in your inbox and then you could move it yourself or whatever.
Yeah, so if Sarah, for example, sent me this pre-approval letter and it said pre-approval letter for Nicholas Jackman and she forgot to add the attachment, it would still be here. And then when I went into it, I could email her back and say, hey, thanks for the email, but you forgot the attachment, right? Or if I get a spam email, like I always do from some lender that wants the business of all the brokerage, and they say, hey, we do great pre-approvals and quick turnaround, and it doesn't have that attachment, it's not going to go there automatically, but it allows me to process it from there and decide what to do with it.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, bonus tip, and this is one that you can sort on and you can use all the time. And there's a couple ways to use this. I'll tell you the way to use it based on this class, and then I'll give you one bonus tip. In Gmail, you can put the plus sign and then any word you want after the first part of your email address to help sort. So for example, your email address plus the word offers@gmail.com. Anybody who emails this to you, it still goes to your inbox just like normal. They don't see any difference whatsoever. The only thing that you can do is if you receive an email from, sent to email address plus offers@gmail.com, you can automatically sort that out over into the offers label. And so if you list that as your email address on the MLS, right, this one right here, it automatically sorts it out for you. And spammers don't know how to add or what to add. And so you will never get offer spam in your offers label. You'll only get this email address, right? Another way to do it, and this is a spam one if you don't want to create a new spam account, is when you go to sign up for that spam, you can use email address plus spam@gmail.com. And then when you filter, you can filter on this email address and automatically just delete them before they ever hit your inbox, right? So anybody sending to Jeff Larson Homes plus spam@gmail.com, that one could automatically just be deleted and moved over into the trash without ever having to see it. So this only works with Gmail. So if you have a Hotmail account or a Yahoo account, whatever it is, an Outlook account, a Live account, it doesn't work. It only works with Gmail. Now, bonus tip, if you're working with clients and the husband and wife don't have separate email addresses and they do have one Gmail account, this is an easy way to get signing for both people in one email address. So you could put husband's email address plus wife's name @gmail.com and then just put his name as the other person. And so it's easy to split those out when you're doing digital signatures, when they require two different email addresses to get those digital signatures. But again, it only works on Gmail, so you know. Questions on this one? Okay. So that's rules and filters. Let's talk about snooze and send later. These are two powerful things that'll help you kind of get through your email a little bit quicker and deal with the things that are important. Snoozing allows you to deal with an email later if you can't take action or you don't want to take action now. And send later allows you to send an email at a more appropriate or a better time. Why? Well, number one, it lets you clear your mind, right? If I know that I've got this email and I know I need to reply to it 2 days from now, once I get some more information, but I can't deal with it right now, I don't need to let it sit in my inbox for 2 days until I get to it and remember it and see it every time I go back in. I can just snooze it, get it out of my email, and it will automatically come back in 2 days. Second, it lets you control when conversations happen. So if I'm sending an email later, it allows me to send it at a time that's easier for me to have that conversation, right? And number three, it lets you get in front of your audience at a prime time. And so if I'm sending out an email to clients, often I will send it at 2 p.m. on Tuesday because for whatever reason, statistics have shown that 2 p.m. on Tuesday gets the best open and response rate, right? So I could set that up to send at that specific time on that specific day. So let me show you what this looks like. And one that I can do. So Heather, I've already looked at Heather's email. I've already read through it. I've already helped her. But let's say that, I get here and Heather has some information that needs to be taken care of in 2 days from now. I can just go up and I can hit the snooze button and I can pick a date and time. So I'll pick Friday at 8 a.m. and save this. And now if I go back, Heather's email is not here. But when Friday at 8 a.m. comes, her email is going to pop back up. It's going to be at the top of my inbox again and show unread, just like it just came in. And that will remind me that, hey, I need to reply to Heather at this point. I now should have the information needed. And so I can reply to her at that point. But from now on, every time I go back into my email today, Heather's email isn't sitting there reminding me that I need to do it. I can free up my mental space in not having to do that. A send later is pretty easy. You just go back to this little arrow down here at the bottom when you're typing your email and schedule your send. I don't have any recipients in. Let's see. We'll pick Bob again. And that's not your email address, I know. So I can schedule it for any time I want. It gives me some options, but I can pick a date and time and schedule it for whenever. And so I'll pick this date and that email will automatically go to Bob at that specific time. And those are two very powerful ways to control the conversation and to free up this inbox for things that are just important to you right now. Any questions on snoozing or sending later?
Yes, where are they in the meantime if I want to answer sooner?
So they're right here. We get back up to the top. Snooze is right here.
Oh,
And
okay.
send later goes into your outbox, and you'll be able to find it in your outbox, and it just sits there. So once you have it, you'll have an outbox right here. It'll show waiting to go out, and you can click on it and change the date, or if you decide you need to send it right now, you can send it right now.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Other questions? Okay. Let's snooze and send later. Let's help Barb and Wade with their inboxes, quickly cleaning it up. Okay, so this is you go in and you've got 5 million emails and you feel like there's no way you're ever going to get on top of it and you're never going to get to inbox zero. This is 3 steps that you can easily just get to inbox zero today and then start from there. First thing I would do is set up the one that I already told you about, right? Search for the word unsubscribed, select all those emails, and then I would actually just delete them, right? There's no reason to keep any of those unsubscribed emails. That'll probably clean up the vast majority of your email, right? So if I do unsubscribe again, and I can click this button right here that's select. But if I do the down arrow, I can select all, and that will select all of my emails, right? And now it says, do I want to select everything that matches? I do, right? And then from there, I would just hit the trash button and they would be gone. So that's probably going to delete, I don't know how many thousands of emails that you've got there that are specifically unsubscribe emails. So that's the first thing that you need to do.
Jeff, with the unsubscribe, if you were to do that and it captured all of the things, but let's say there's 3 newsletters that you do like, that you do want to see, how do you protect those?
Right.
So, I mean, you can do that. Let me go back and show you a little bit of what you're saying. Let's say that I still really want to see these Jimmy John emails, right? What I'm doing here is not unsubscribing. I'm simply deleting everything that's currently in my inbox. And the chances that I'm going to go back and look at any of this stuff that I haven't looked at for years on end is very, very minimal.
Right.
So right now, all I want to do is clean it up and get it out. In the future, you're still going to get all of these same ones. As you know, tomorrow when Peggy sends me a new MLS mail, I'm going to get it. And I can decide from there if I want to unsubscribe or not. Right? The Slick Wrap send me another one. I can look at it and decide from there. This just gets it cleaned up for now and gets it out of the way.
Right,
If
right. Okay.
you absolutely wanted, you know, I've got 4 or 5 here at the top. Hey, I want to read these today. I can unselect the ones that I don't want.
Jeff, couldn't you go, because there's a couple of my newsletters that I do read all the time. Couldn't you go in and first make a filter for those and put them in a folder on the side and then go back and get rid of the rest, right?
You could, if they're newsletters that you actually want to go back and refer to, this isn't going to work for you because this is going to select everything and that has the word unsubscribe, regardless of what label or folder they're in.
Oh, it won't protect those then.
No.
Crap. Okay. Because
So you absolutely could do that and go in. So here, so I would use the word unsubscribe. And instead of searching all mail, I would only select my inbox. So that's actually a great way to do it. So
okay.
you put them all into a label. And then when you search, just make sure that you search only in your inbox and not anywhere else.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So if I search now just in my inbox, I only have 3 in my inbox.
Yeah, because there's 2 or 3 of these newsletters I do read every day. So I don't want to delete them. So
sure. Yeah. So move them into an important newsletter label or whatever you want to call it, right? Something that you want to read all the time, move it there and then just search on the inbox only.
thank you. That's a good clue. Thank you.
Okay, so once you've got the unsubscribe part done and deleted most of your emails, the second one is go in and search for emails older than 10 years and delete them. The chances that you've got anything that's at least 10 years old that you haven't read, that you're going to ever need again, extremely slim, right? And you've probably got a whole bunch of those emails sitting there with attachments and big files, all kinds of stuff that you can just delete. Anything older than 10 years, just get rid of them all. There's no reason to keep them. What's our compliance time? How long do we have to keep compliant stuff? 3-ish. Yep. So 3 full calendar years, right? So if I were from today, it would be all of this year, but then 3 full calendar years from there. So I tell people to keep it for 4 years. That 4-year time period will always make sure that you're compliant with that. So search and delete those second. And then the last step, select everything else. So once you're done deleting this, go back to your inbox with all 20,000 emails in it, select everything and just archive it. Now remember, archive is not delete. Archive just moves it out of your inbox, right? It gets rid of it so you don't have to look at it anymore. If you still need it, you can go back and find it. Now, before I do this, I would tell you go through today's stuff for the last week and just make sure that you've processed whatever's important. But for the most part, you can just go in and archive all that. It will go into the archive folder. If you ever need it, you can search for it. You can go in the archive folder and look for it or whatever. But you're not deleting it. You're just getting it out of your inbox, marking it as read. You'll never have to see it again.
Jeff, can you show us how to do the search for, all emails older than 10 years, for example?
Yeah, so it's harder than it seems. The way to do it is you go into your search here and you use this more search options. And your date range has to be within 1 year. And then because it searches 1 year on either side, you're basically searching for 2 years at a time. I would start at like 2013. Right. And that's going to give me everything 2013 and 2 years on either side. And so then I would select those and delete those.
Got it.
And you can see I've still got Home Depot stuff in here from 2013, Home Depot, whatever, Black Friday stuff. So there's stuff in here that could easily be deleted.
Jeff, right there,
Yeah, I mean, I might need that 40% off at some point in time. So
yeah,
it's a good point. Might not want to delete that. So yeah, I mean, for me, I'm already paying and I continue to pay out the wazoo for tons of storage space. And so I just archive everything. I never delete. But if you don't want to pay and you want to get it cleaned up, deleting this kind of stuff will help you immensely to get closer to where you don't have to pay. Okay, so that
archive doesn't count towards storage then, is that what you're saying?
Archive does.
Okay.
So archive, everything that's in archive still takes away from your storage space.
Okay.
Delete does not, because delete takes it off forever, right? Archive, I can always still find it. So if I archived these repsies for the Lefevres, they would still be findable. If I delete it, then I'll never be able to find those again, which is fine. I don't really need them 10 years later. But you know, they're not there anymore. And so they're not taking up space for my storage.
Well, you should be exporting those to an external hard drive anyway.
Right. And even then you should clean them up after 4 years. You really don't need to keep anything after 4 years unless for some reason you want to look at them 10 years down the road. Right. Other questions? Okay, so that's cleaning up a huge inbox. If you're there and you need help step by step, call me. I'll walk you through it. We'll get it done. Now let me show you what I do on a daily basis. So this is my daily process. And what I would tell you to do first is you'll need to go into the settings and turn on your quick keys. This is not necessary, but I use my keyboard shortcuts all the time. It's how I do my email. It makes it so much quicker and easier if you learn your keyboard shortcuts for Gmail. Outlook and other email clients have them as well, but use those quick keys that'll get you through your email much quicker. And then you'll also need to set up for my process these five labels or folders. So these are the 5 labels or folders that I use on a daily basis. Okay, and so my process each day, I start my email, I start at my oldest one, and I'll go through and take care of these. The only thing that I don't classify into one of these 5 things or anything that I could resolve within 2 minutes or less. So if I can reply to that email or take care of that email within 2 minutes, I just do it right then. I don't reclassify it. Once I've gotten into the office and reclassified everything, during my scheduled email time, if I weren't doing it 24/7 like I do, I would go through and review and take care of these emails through each of these, starting with the most important. And I take any action from that point forward on any emails that come in without categorizing them. So during the day, I don't go back and recategorize them. I just take care of them as they come in. And then before I log off for the night, I recategorize everything, make sure that I'm at inbox 0, if at all possible. And then honestly, I still process email at 2 in the morning, but that's just me, right? So let me go back and kind of show this to you. So if I came into this inbox today, I would scroll to the very bottom, and this is how I would do it. So this one, this is an email from Brittany. She needed me to take a look at some things on one of her files. I've already taken care of this, and so I can just archive this. I simply hit the E key on my keyboard and it goes away and it takes me to my next email. Bronson Goodwin needed my signature on a document. I can take care of that one. This one's a DR Horton newsletter. For whatever reason, I still read these. And so I'll go ahead and move this one to do that. I hit my V key on my keyboard. That brings it up and I put it in my read and review. This is a document stating that I signed it. Don't need to see that one anymore. So you can delete that one or archive it. And I just hit E to archive. This is a showing confirmation. I've got to show this house today at 4 o'clock. I don't need this information, so I'll just go ahead and move that one into archive. Last night, Todd sent me an addendum that he wanted me to look over from a builder who is absolutely nuts and crazy. And I don't need this one anymore. I've talked to Todd about it. We've taken care of it. It's done. There's a newsletter from ListTrack. I do like to look at the information from the brokerage here. And so I'll hit V to move this one, move it over, read and review. This is from Paul Evans, the brokerage commission split from Brooke Haslam. And so I do need to take care of this one. This is an action item. And so I'll move it into action needed. Utah Real Estate, this is telling me that I just got to pay my $480 annual dues to the MLS. That's super nice of me to get to do that. But I don't need this one anymore. And so I'm going to move this one. I have a receipts label, and so I'll move it over into receipts. I'm lucky enough to get to see every one of your CDAs that come through. And so every day I wake up to about 20 CDAs. And so this is commission instructions that came in. I just moved these over into the CDAs folder. This is the same one. Usually I'll go through and actually look at these, but I'm not going to look at them just for the reason of timing. So I'll move that one to CDAs. This is my follow-up boss, my CRM, what I need to do. This one I would move to action. I get an email every day that shows me what I'm getting in the mail that day. I would scan it and then take care of it and just archive it. This is from someone who needs an invoice paid for an agent. And so this one needs action. This is the one Maya just sent out. I'm already in this class, so I don't need it anymore. Payment confirmation for my Colorado MLS. And so that one can be moved to receipts. This is the Utah Notice of Defaults that InWest Title sends me. And so I would want to review and read this one and look through it. And so I'm going to move that one over into read and review. This is the loan options that my lender just sent me on my buyer, and I need to read and review that one. Actually, I need to reply to this one. Whoops. Wrong one. Oh, let's get rid of that. So I need to reply to that. This is the pre-approval letter that came in, and so I can just move this one over to pre-approvals. Like I said, those are normally moved out, but I've got it turned off just so that I didn't have it move out automatically. There's an MLS correction that needs to take place for one of the agents in the office. And so I'll move that one. That one's an action needed. This, I just had to get my driver's license changed because they spelled my name wrong on my driver's license. Cool stuff. But I don't need to know anything about the voter registration. And so I'll archive that. SaneBox, interesting that this came up. This is a program that I actually use and pay for. And so let me go through that for you real quick. This is SaneBox. I pay for this on a yearly basis. I think it's about $8 a month. They go through and actually do a lot of the sorting for you. So they'll move stuff into newsletters, stuff into read later. They'll mark stuff as important. You can turn off certain folders or certain emails coming in. You can actually delay your email, from certain hours of coming in so that you don't get distracted from it. It's a really great service. If you need some help and you don't want to do it yourself, I would highly suggest SaneBox. And I'll include the link to them when we send out the copy of this recording. And so anyhow, I've read this, I already know what it is. And so I can just take care of that one. This is the one that we talked about. That's the problem in Colorado with one of the agents. Matt's replied, but it looks like I need to still reply. So I'm going to put that in my reply folder. This is a newsletter with Crexy, which is a Colorado thing again. In all honesty, I probably need to unsubscribe from this, but I'm going to delay it until later. And so I'm going to put it in my action needed so that I can take care of that later. And with that, in a matter of about 3 minutes, I've gone from 30 emails to an inbox 0. So for the rest of the day, as emails come in, I can process those one at a time. Doesn't take me a lot of time. By the end of the day, I should remain pretty close to inbox 0, and I'll start over again at the start of the day. Okay, so that concludes my tips and tricks on how to get to inbox 0 and manage your email. What questions can I answer for you, either on email or honestly anything related to Fathom or real estate or whatever?
No, I appreciate all the tips. That was fantastic. It's going to help a lot.
I have one question. How do you change the color?
So the color of the labels, they don't make it super easy to figure this out. Let me go back to my screen. Color of the labels is actually, you hover over and these 3 dots right here. You click on those and then the label color comes up and you can pick on whatever color you want there.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. Other questions?
Can I ask a not Gmail related question?
Absolutely. You can ask anything, including real estate related questions. What's up?
Is there I've long, because I'm a night owl and I often am trying to reply to people at 2 and 3 in the morning. Donuts anyway.
Yeah.
But texts, I don't like sending texts. Like emails is one thing because people don't usually get woken up by an email, right? And you can do the delay, which I love. But text is something else. But when I have the thought, I want to send a text, but I don't want to do it at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. because a lot of people forget to turn off their phones. Or the next day they'll say, why are you texting me at 3 a.m.? Because I'm wide awake working. That's why. Is there a program that you know of that will do the same thing, delay a text or schedule a text?
No, I don't know any way to delay a text, unfortunately, other than just to type it and then wake up in the morning and hit send.
Okay.
Yeah.
Too bad, because my brain never shuts off.
No, I get it. I'm up with you at 2 in the morning, usually texting Bob. What other questions? All right, guys, hopefully this was valuable. Thanks for being here. Again, if you've got specific questions, you want me to walk through your accounts with you, help you one-on-one, whatever, I'm happy to do that. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. Hope you have a great week and successful, and you get out there and get some listings and some buy sides. Have a great week.
Thanks, Jeff.